Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of MK Invasion, produced by Forever Entertainment. If you have not hit that like and subscribe button, I encourage you to do so. It will be live. It's going live on YouTube right now and Facebook. So check out Forever Entertainment. So welcome back. This is episode 3, season 1, and it's super exciting. We are going demonic possessions, UFOs, and more. So this will absolutely be amazing. You can find me, Coley Weber, over on YouTube at SNX Radio, on Facebook, and on excuse me, Facebook. I'm on there as Coley UFO, or you can find me under Coley SNX. Check out our groups under SNX Radio. So that's really exciting. Other than that, I'm going to get right into this. So tonight, our guest is none other than Daniel Pico, and I'm going to bring him on, and he can tell you all about himself. So welcome, Daniel.
Hello, thanks for having me.
We would loved having you. So as our guest, yes. Daniel, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll get right into it.
Yes, I'm a filmmaker. I live in Janesville, Wisconsin, and I've been making movies for just over 20 years. I went to school in Columbia College in Chicago. I'm originally from Illinois. I lived in LA for 13 years, and yeah, I've really enjoyed working on a lot of horror movies recently, which is very fitting, I think, for this podcast. And I tend to try and work a lot of my personal experiences into my work. And even though I'm not a real big believer, I guess if you want to call that, somebody who's very faithful. But I really do believe I am superstitious. I guess that's the best way to put it. So I am. I have had a couple of experiences I definitely want to share. Some of the other work that I've done is in the sci-fi area. I did a TV show called Razor that was on the Gala Film Network. I co-wrote that, co-produced it. I directed one of the episodes, and I worked with my good friend David Bianchi on that, and that was a really great experience. A year ago, or a year and a half ago, we released that, and we were nominated for a Primetime Emmy for the show, which was really exciting. And one of my films that I just released was one of the films that played at the Shorts Corner at the Cannes Film Festival last year. So I've been releasing a lot of my films recently, and in honor of Halloween, I released a bunch of my short horror films. We're currently right now in post-production on Solstice, which is a horror feature that we did. We shot it here in Wisconsin independently, completely.
Wow.
And
We must not be too far away from one another. I'm in Iowa.
Oh, you're in Iowa. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You're part of the Four Corners right there.
Yeah. So I heard you talk about Illinois and then Wisconsin, and I was like, I'm right at the tri-state area where there's Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin, like all the states meet. So it's like the tri-state area. So I was like, man, now you're getting close. So yeah, I love Midwesterners. I love that.
Yeah, so, I think like if you go like to Platteville, there's like the Four Corners right there, because it's like Minnesota, and then you have all of them right there. So it's like the Four.
I'm like 20 minutes away from Platteville.
Oh wow,
15 to 20 minutes. Yeah.
I have visited that. I took my stepson there to visit the college when he was touring colleges, and
oh cool.
Yeah, so yeah, I got to have lunch at Platteville. It was amazing.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just stop you for a second. I was like, wow, he's really close. So yeah, go on, Daniel. Tell him a little bit more. You've got some like awesome achievements here and fascinating stuff. So
Solstice was a really exciting project that we just did. It's kind of a Stephen King homage, where it's a small town kind of goes to hell. Kind of an energy vampire story. So it's really exciting. We have a lot of really fun things planned that'll be coming out in 2026. We're going to be finished with the movie within about a month or so.
Wow. And being so close to home, I'm definitely going to be waiting for it to come out. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, you do all these fantastic things on film. And you said before you're a bit superstitious. I guess I wanted to start there. Like, what do you mean by you're a bit superstitious?
I scare very easily in, like, dark, hallways late at night, and like, I work really late at my office quite often, and so 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning I'll hear stuff, and then I get really spooked out. So, like, I said, I don't necessarily believe, but I also, I'm still afraid. So I still, I guess, give the unknown its due respect, I guess, is the best way
Daniel,
to
can
put
I
it.
tell you something?
Sure.
Do you know what I did for 7 years?
Hmm.
I was a clinical outpatient therapist.
Are you saying I need therapy?
No, I'm saying that I know what
Oh,
that fear that you feel when you tell me that you're a skeptic. I know where that comes from.
yeah. But at the same time, like, I've always been also fascinated by the supernatural in some capacity. I definitely like to say there are things we don't know, we
Right.
don't understand. I think that's the biggest thing. So, like, I guess,
I was
go ahead, please.
messing with you before, but yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no, so that's kind of my I mean, I'm also very gullible, apparently, too. I can I guess I'm that way too. But that was the but yeah, that was something I've always experienced. I always have that overwhelming sense of sensing things and stuff like that. My wife is way more sensitive than me. Like, we go into old buildings here in Janesville, and you know,
Oh, wow.
and the supernatural seems to. I mean, really, in reality, you probably should have had her on this podcast, but the supernatural tends to gravitate toward her very frequently. It's
I
very.
grew up a medium, so I
Oh,
understand that, yeah.
okay.
So I huge paranormal ties, like, from
Hmm.
growing up, seeing spirits and having that connection. So, is that kind of what she does, I'm assuming?
Yeah, not really. I mean, but she does have that extra sense. She
Yeah.
definitely has that, and it tends to gravitate toward her, like, physically. Like, we were in my just as a quick side story. My wife was leaving my old office, which was in a very old building. It was like 1860s. It was built
Oh,
here in town, and she was
the
leaving,
restless
and
era.
something grabbed her purse
Oh, wow.
literally in the hallway by the elevator, and, like, pulled her back, and she was like,
Oh,
"Whoa,"
yeah.
like, that was the thing, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to your office for a while."
That can be scary. Like, see, I go into some of the most haunted places across, like, America. I just, like, since I've been doing this, started, like, taking on events. So when stuff like that, but in the beginning, like, when stuff like that happens, or how do you react when, stuff like, that's outside, your like, something's literally going on here that you can't, there's no other explanation for,
Uh,
unless there's, like, some weird vortex that just, like, pops open, you know what I mean? Or a
it
mini tornado that's only in Daniel's driveway, like, yeah.
I mean, I have to be honest, it makes my butthole pucker. Like, I get very, like, "Whoa," like, like, when my wife and I were here one night having dinner in my office, and here in this building, literally, the door was open to the hallway, and she's like, "Oh, there's something in the hallway." I'm like, "Why'd you say that? I got to work here all night." Like, I didn't
But
want to
you're a
leave to use the
skeptic.
bathroom.
Where are you?
But I was like, I gotta be here all night without you. Like, you're freaking me out, lady.
Yeah,
You know, I love you, but what the hell? So
because
uh,
she can yeah, genuinely, she has
yeah,
that connection.
yeah,
So obviously you believe sure, like, without a shadow of a doubt, it sounds like she's proven herself time and time again
almost
that what
definitely.
she's able to do.
Yeah, so it was definitely it was definitely interesting to 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 find in my own household that there's somebody who has a direct connection to these things that really
Yeah.
freak me out.
So, are you living in a haunted house? Is that what I'm
We
hearing?
well, she says that the spirits don't come in the house, which doesn't give me any comfort. But
Do you think she might just be telling you that so you'll sleep at night, Danielle? Or do you think that they're actually just Maybe outside your windows or
Oh, that's like my big nightmare, like waking
oh,
up
we
and
won't go
feeling
there. We won't
something
go there,
in the
Danielle.
room with me, like that
Daniel,
is like
I'm just wondering if
that's
she
my
might
instant
be
heart attack
sugarcoating
moment.
some of this for you. I don't think I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, like I said, she said,
Do you
"Oh, it
have
was." Go ahead, I'm
anything
sorry.
moved, knocks around the,
No,
premise, things
no,
smell,
nothing like that.
rattling? Maybe they're friendly ones. Maybe they just kind of want to like coexist with you.
Maybe. I know that
Yeah.
when around the time when the incident that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, around that time there was a lot of kind of supernaturally kind of themed things happening in my life, because
Oh,
my father had passed away, and
yeah.
there was a lot of like stuff happening. I know my
Did it
mom was.
happen right before he was going to pass?
Yes, that is the incident,
Okay.
and I'm certain you can shed some light on
Well, no,
why that
my
was.
son's father before, like, he was gonna pass this, it's been, like, now like 16 and a half years, so it's okay, but I knew because of the activity that was happening in that house that somebody was going to die. And
Ooh,
even 2 days before, I remember getting pictures together of my grandfather, and I thought it was him because he had a stroke. And then I just remember my aunt saying, "Sometimes it's who you least expect." And I mean, I'll tell you about it after, but there were so many crazy things happening. And yes, too, I do have like, I've been doing the paranormal for like my whole entire life, but actually doing investigations now for like 20 years. So, I've got you. I got you if it's handled. But yeah, so definitely keep going. I just had
yeah.
to throw that in there.
So I'll kind of set the scene for the first incident in question, because I know we're talking about possession and keeping that sort of like thematically where we're at, but we also talked about a UFO incident, and I have one of
Yes.
those that I would love to share because that's really spooky shit.
Ooh.
So and there's all kinds of
Spookier than the ghost?
yes, it
What if
it's
one
it
was outside your window, Daniel?
it was technically outside my car window.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
mean like right now. Right now,
oh, I
I was
have a
close
giant
proximity.
black tarp
Oh,
that
okay.
is blocking out my window that is right
Yeah.
in front of my computer monitors, and I
Oh,
have
okay.
that there, but one for security, just so nobody can look in, but so I can't look out and see a spooky face looking back
You
at
got
me.
this figured out, Daniel.
Oh,
You got
I
this figured
plan
out.
ahead.
Oh yeah, no, but just real quick before we can continue,
Mhm.
I was in close proximity. The first UFO that I saw, I was 30 feet away. It was 50 foot in diameter, and that sucker was no more than 10 feet above my head, in the middle of nowhere in a cemetery with my friends. So that's how close I've been to one too, and it crept from 1 mile like right over to me. So like I understand, like I can relate to a lot of what you're
I'm
saying.
freaked out just listening to you telling that story.
Now go
um,
outside your house, Danielle, and run around the block. No, I'm joking.
oh,
So yeah, go on.
so
You've had an ET. This.
so for the incident that happened, this was in 2013, and I was working on this movie called Lawless Range. Well, that's the new title. It was called San Patricios back then when we were shooting the movie. Now it's called Lawless Range. So you could find it out. I was the first assistant director on the movie, and I was living in Los Angeles, and we were in, I want to say, North Hollywood. And
No ho.
yeah, we were in NoHo, and we were at the Elks Lodge in North Hollywood, and it's a very old building. I'm gonna say 1910s, 20s kind of vibe when you walk in, and it's a musty, spooky place with just weird energy.
Yeah.
For the moment I walked in, so I like walked in and I looked around and I was like, there's all the photos of the Elk Lodge elders, and they're all on the wall and they're all staring at you, and it's all very horror movie, no matter what you do. And we were about 3 or 4 hours into the shooting day. And my father, as I said, was diagnosed terminal around that time.
Oh man.
And we were, he had liver cancer. So we were all kind of preparing
So
ourselves.
sorry.
And it was tough because I was trying to process that and like work at this really stressful job. And my health at the time wasn't great either. I wasn't taking care of myself at all. Um,
No, I bet not.
so I was a very heavy drinker at the time. So, but I was kind of just dealing with this 12-hour days, whatever, but it was not a hard shoot or anything like that. So it wasn't like super amounts of stress every day or anything like that. Like it was actually a fairly easy shoot, thank God. And we were about 3 or 4 hours into the day, and I just started getting this sick feeling. It started in my stomach, and it just kept growing as the day was going. And then suddenly I just started getting lightheaded, and there was all these, just this feeling of not being in control of my body anymore. And I eventually had to go to the production manager, and I said, I don't think I can continue on today. I think you have to have Max, the second AD, take over, because I think someone needs to drive me home. I can't even drive my car. And
Wow.
I've had panic attacks since then. So I knew it wasn't a panic attack or anything like that. So like I know what the symptoms for that are. But it was like a fever, and I started getting chills. I started getting all kinds of symptoms like I had some sort of virus or bug. And I thought, well, maybe I caught, something here. It's an old musty building. And that's where I thought the day was going, but I couldn't eat my lunch. I couldn't do anything. So they drove me home. I'm literally shaking in the car on the way home. I couldn't, I had like this insane chill that just wouldn't go away. And I got home to the house, to my apartment, and I laid down on my couch in the living room, and I began to no longer feel like I was inside my body. I started having all of these hallucinations of being above myself, looking down. I was no longer like in this
Oh,
film.
wow, that's telling. That's
It was the strangest, and it lasted maybe 2 hours, and then like that, it was over. It was the strangest thing I think I'd ever experienced up to that point. I was like, that was not like me getting sick, having a panic attack, having any
so
kind of thing.
I have to back you up here. So you're on the film set. What do you think, or how do you think this entity, like, or whatever it was, attached itself to you?
Um, so this was my take afterwards. I felt like because I was so close to death, to someone that was gonna die,
Mhm.
I was like attuned to things that were
Like, it changed your
supernatural.
frequency, kinda
Yeah,
like,
and
so
and it sensed that, and then it attached itself to me, and it was like draining me in some capacity.
yeah, oh, yeah. They oh, yeah, they're and, it's always so subtle with them, and then it's slowly until they'll just suck it dry.
And then it was like I was already in a weakened spiritual state, so
Sure.
it started to leach all this energy from me
Mhm.
to at once, and being in a space that had clearly something wrong with it. I mean, it was not a
Yeah.
good environment to walk around in. And I was wandering by myself a little bit because I was restless during the day. I was very restless. So I was walking off by myself, which, from my understanding, is that's when things can find you, is if there's no one around.
So was there like, were you at a haunted location? Is that what happened?
Quite perhaps. I thought that like I said, the building was very old, and buildings in LA like that have weird energy. So that was
Oh,
I thought
yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure, definitely. Especially we were talking before. I used to live in California for a while.
Okay.
I lived in NoHo and I lived in Burbank. So I
Yeah.
was like, when he said that, I was like, NoHo, yeah, no. So I totally understand. You're like right in that era, in that area.
Mhm.
It's I get what you're saying now,
Well, it's like,
definitely.
the Elks Lodge, I could imagine that there's somebody who was a member there that it meant something to. And
Yeah,
perhaps when they passed, that spirit was like, I'm going to go hang out at the Elks Lodge because that's where my bros are.
yeah, right.
Like maybe that's
I'm
that's what
gonna
it
get my
was.
nightly drink, and
Yeah.
yeah, right,
And
exactly.
saxophone, that's how they rolled. So I felt like I had encountered something there, and it was like, you're weak right now. So I'm
So
gonna
you're going through hard times in
yeah.
your life.
Hmm.
So you're right, because when I go in to do clearings, first thing I do is I take a look at the family structure, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? No judgment here, but I need to know what's going on, because if this is a divorce, if this is a separation, it's going to create some vulnerabilities for people, and that's all it needs. Like if your house is now in disarray, that's what they do. So we gotta don't be embarrassed about it, because we gotta know. I can help you if I know what you're dealing with. And so
Hmm.
there's just different things, there's a lot of fighting going on. Oh, yeah. And it will just increase that environment and that loom. I don't know what else you could call it. And it just really, I saw the lady before I did the clearing. She looked like should have been off of like I don't even know what scary movie, like it would have come off of Tales from the Crypt or something. I don't know. She looked like that before. And then after it was all said and done, she looked fine. Like she had a normal, I mean, she came out, she was like white as a ghost. I mean, it was just crazy. You could totally tell
Hmm.
that it had been just feeding off of her.
Oh yeah, I mean it was. I've come to the conclusion since then that must have been what it was doing, is that it was leeching off of me some way. Like whether you could say I was possessed, like the out of body part, like the feeling of not being in my body and like looking down on me as I was like going in and out of consciousness,
Yeah.
like
I've had that
that.
happen in ET
Oh,
experiences.
really?
Yeah, I could see myself. It was like a third person seeing, like I could literally see myself who was
Hmm.
looking down, and then but when at a certain point, what I could see the ET was from myself that was like strapped down, like on it. This is one of my first experiences with five short grays. So, but I could see myself. So that's an OBE. You're out of body. You're definitely a traveler.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So since then, so kind of a quick little coda to this story is that building that I was working in that my wife got her purse grabbed by an entity. There happened to be paranormal investigators who had an office at the mall across the street, because that's what happens in Janesville. And they had a haunted in their office. It was the creepiest thing. It was a safe, like an old 1900s safe, and it had a person locked in it who was kidnapped or something like that. So they went and they had a little meter, and they would wave it by that, and it would like go fucking ape shit when they would do it. You see this needle spiking. And I was like, whoa, that's creepy. And then they're like, oh, let's go upstairs to the attic. There's an entity up there, which my wife also had an encounter with, because it kept poking her in the back while we were filming a movie up there. And she went up there, or we went up there with their meter. They did it. I said, well, then we need to go to my office, because there's some stuff going on in there. So we went over there, and they start taking readings. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're like, we're not getting anything in this building.
Are they in
The
with like an EMF or K2?
Something like that. I wasn't sure what the
Okay.
device was, but it was recording. It had like a meter, and it was recording.
Like a
You know,
millimeter,
yeah,
probably something like that.
and I'm doing this behind, like underneath. I'm like, it's like doot, 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 doot. I'm doing it
Yeah,
from here.
yeah, that
And
would be what it
I'm doing.
was.
So, and they're like, we're not getting anything here. And then they go, but watch this. And they waved it by me, and it went ape shit. I was like, whoa, like I'm still intact. I'm not a I'm not a ghost yet. They're like, but they're like, something's making it go crazy around you. And I was like, that's unnerving. That's very unnerving. But that was my experience with the supernatural. Now, since then, I've told this story a couple of times, and usually it gets either eye rolls or, I told it to somebody on a film set, because we were shooting at a very creepy, closed down mental hospital way out in the boonies out in California. And I told them there, everybody's creeped out with the place. They said, well, I've had, a bad experience. And I told them the story, and one of the crew members was looking at me and goes, well, that's called being on hour 15 of the day. And you think you've been possessed. I said, no, it was on hour 4. And I had been rested. So, but yeah, no, it was a very creepy, and I mean, not something I ever expected to experience, because I'm,
Sure.
I'm not that kind of guy. I don't really necessarily invite that. But also I've learned like since then that like negative energy, when you start like example, like they say like they're cursed movies, like when they're making like The Exorcist, weird shit was happening on set. Poltergeist, weird shit was happening on set. So if you
Exactly.
yeah, so you're inviting all those dark forces in, and suddenly, you're open to those things. So on Solstice, when we were filming that movie, weird shit kept happening on set. It was getting weird to the point where I mean, some of it was just bad luck. We had a lot of just bad luck,
So
bad
what
weather.
I guess what was it? So you like horror movies. What exactly do you think was connecting the two? Like what about this movie? Because I'm unaware of what this movie is about. So
Oh,
just so you can
Solstice?
tell our listeners, the people out
Sure.
there, kind of, so we can make this connection of why this type of force would want to attach itself here.
Sure. So so Solstice is about a woman who's elderly, and she is diagnosed with terminal cancer. And she's at an estate sale, and she finds this trinket. It's like an amulet, and it is basically a conduit for other people's energy to come into her, to flow into her, and it heals her and makes her younger. But in order for it to function on her, it steals energy from everybody else. So she's like an energy vampire. So everyone in the town's getting sick, and whatever's wrong with you already is amplified. So like there's a character that has gum disease and their teeth start falling out. And there's people who have problems with their hair, like alopecia, and it just suddenly, this woman's hair just starts falling out in clumps, and pieces of her scalp are falling off. So it's a very intense body horror movie in many ways. But so some of that is it's really funny. Not till we had this conversation that I realized I lifted that from my own experience.
Oh
It's so
wow.
funny. I had no idea that, like, I knew about the cancer, with my father. I knew I was borrowing that, but the incident I had no idea that that was part of the inspiration for the film that we were making. That's so crazy. Um, but that is part of so that's the universe that the film is taking place in. And I've always, you hear all these stories, and there was like some weird shit was going on. There's lots of scheduling things, and just nothing seemed to be going right. There was always a problem.
Yeah, chaos. The
Yeah.
chaos.
And whether or not that was just us being unprepared or whatever,
It
but
could have been, but it's
could have been.
amplified. Like you said, no, the certain percentage of it was, stems from whatever, but it's being amplified, like you said
Sure.
before. That's exactly what's happening. It's gonna create more, and two, like it's like the roadblocks. I
Yeah.
sometimes even just parlor games, but those roadblocks that they throw in there, they are very good. Like they know you're coming before you know you're coming.
Oh
But
yeah.
there's also a connection with when that happens and when they attach themselves to you, they themselves to you for a reason.
See, that's interesting because like the location that we filmed in, that we had the most sort of like just bad juju, I guess best to describe it, was the castle down in Beloit. They had
Beloit,
and it's
Wisconsin.
yeah, Beloit, Wisconsin, yeah.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
and the only reason I say we had bad juju there is just because it is an old building, and there is just juju there. And when, from the moment we arrived, just everything seemed to be chaotic and problematic. And at one point, there was a church service going on in the church that we're supposed to be filming in that day because there was a scheduling mishap. And so we had to wait for them to finish. So we went outside, shot some other scenes. And then as we were finishing up, the pastor came out. He was a Baptist minister. And he came out and he gave our movie a blessing because he said, you guys all look like you need it. So he
Right?
gave
And
her,
who would know better?
yeah, so he gave her movies. I said, I'll take all the help I can get. So a day or two later, where I no, it was the very next day, we are shooting in another part of the castle, and that for a day before was just hellish. It was such an intense day, and we show up early the next day to get in, and like again just more headaches and problems, and there's a guy who is there who's a resident, who has an, like, I guess, an office there, and he was a Satanist priest, and he comes up and he's got his eyes dyed black.
A
Really nice guy.
Satanist? A Satanist
He was a
priest?
Satanist priest,
Oh god.
and he had his eyes like tattooed black. I mean, so there was like black within black. Really, I mean, I saw him there, and my first thought. And don't get me wrong, nice guy, really nice guy.
Run.
But my first thought when I saw him was, "Oh my God, I'm dead," and Satan has come to claim me himself. Like he's like,
You
I
gotta understand, it's like they're not going, if people know that they're who they are, they're not going to have all these blind followers who think that they're just law-abiding citizens. Like they out there grooming people. You know what I mean?
so
It's like,
I saw him. I'm like, yes, Satan. Like I
yeah.
didn't I didn't know what to think. But then he
Am
goes,
I
"Hey,
here to serve rest of
I,
eternity, and,
what
like,
what have
being
I
punished
done?
for my sins? Yeah.
Is my hell a film set that's constantly behind schedule? Like that would make sense." So
One on a haunted, oh yeah, but it would be on a haunted YouTube or UFO, like Native American grounds. Like that's where you're continuously stuck right in that era. No,
I
like
think.
at the Skinwalker Ranch
Well, I
would
think
put
if
you.
there's a hell is just like a moment being relived over and over again, I'd say it's like the 5 minutes before lunch and you're behind schedule and no one's willing to give you grace. Like that would be hell for a first assistant director. So,
Would it be hell if you added a paranormal element to it and a UFO element to it?
well, I can give you I can add the UFO element in a minute. But so when I saw this guy there, and I think he's the Dark Lord come to claim me, I I say, I'm like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "Can I help you?" He's like, do you guys need a blessing?" And I thought to myself, you know what?
Hell
I'll
yeah.
take all the help I can get. So he
Yes,
staged
yes.
our set for us. So people walked in and that morning and did a whole like saging, there. So like people are like, "What's that smell?" I said, "Oh, the Satanist priest just gave us a blessing." And I
Oh,
just
the
would go on.
Satanist priest did
Yeah.
it?
I would just move on and let them ponder that.
Oh my
It was great. It was amazing. It was just when I said, so now when I tell the
god.
story about the movie, I tell them, I'm like, we had all hands on deck to make this movie happen, literally and figuratively. So that was our experience there.
So
And
is
the
he written into is he written into the script, or
no, no, he
he
wasn't.
was there and oh god,
No,
oh no.
I didn't, I didn't think to do that because it would have been great if I'd put him in the church scene. But anyway, as a background player, just suddenly it's like, oh look, there's the angel of death just hanging out there. But no, but one of the nicest guys though, and I want to emphasize that he was very, very kind and very accommodating too, because he was like, "Hey, I'm doing a blessing in here. I'm gonna be hammering
What
some
did
nails."
well,
And
like
he's
he
like, "I'm
didn't
gonna be
use
hammering
holy
some
water, did
nails."
he?
No, he said he was hammering nails into a piece of wood because he was doing a blessing, which I don't know how it works in his church. So
Yeah.
that had to deal with anything. And I know there's probably a listener out there going like, I know. Well, put it in the comments. I just thought I would have walked, gone.
So you're not a current member of their church
No,
then?
but he was being considered. He's like, "I know you're shooting right next door to me, so just so definitely,
Your
I'm
neighbor?
gonna."
Oh, okay. So
So
you're
he
like,
was being really nice, and like I said,
I've heard that
I
about
don't
them.
judge, unless I think
Me
there's
either, but when it comes to demonic,
yeah,
things, I mean, you
unless
thought maybe who better know what to do than like a demonic overlord, like
you know.
a saint. You know what I mean? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, like I said, I thought that, like I said, at first I just thought he was the Prince of Darkness coming to claim my eternal soul for, for something I did at some point, which
Right?
definitely wound up on my, fifth step at some point. But anyway, so,
I
but
just don't know. I've never seen them around Wisconsin. Are we in Wisconsin? Or are
this
we
is
in LA?
well, it's Wisconsin Illinois border, so it could be, they're down there, they're a little bit different
They're
across the
everywhere now.
but
Yeah.
but very kind and considerate. So that said, it was a really like I said, I have these experiences that just keep, weird shit just keeps happening to me. And there were other, incidences. I'm certain that the crew members are going to put in a chat somewhere like, what about this moment that you forgot about? I said, well, put it in the chat. So
Was there an increase since the Prince of Darkness had came in and, let's say, saged the place and did
somebody said that
clearing?
they canceled each other out, and I said, their shoot didn't, nothing really changed, so I figured that was probably correct. Although we
So
all got sick
maybe
on the
maybe
show.
the Prince of Darkness could have welcomed a few more. Did you find any changes, maybe new additions to the family?
No, I mean, because like I said, the only thing is that there was a movie about everybody getting sick and dying, and like our whole crew was getting sick throughout the shoot. Like
Right.
that was just because we were exhausted and underfed. So I think that was
Okay.
probably why.
But yeah, but it amplifies things. So I'm just wondering, after the Prince of Darkness came in and did a clearing that's supposed to clear this stuff out, I'm just wondering if you had any maybe little uptick in some paranormal activity
I don't know. I didn't feel like there was anything going on that day, but there were
the
parts of
days
that.
to
Yeah,
follow.
there were parts of that building because I think we were there for 3 days total. There were parts of that building I didn't walk in by myself. I still don't. That place gives me the heebie-jeebies sometimes. Um, so but it's a great environment to shoot a movie because it's like a little mini studio. They have
Oh
a
yeah, for
church.
sure.
They've got rooms. They got like stuff that looks like a school. They got stuff that looks like a hospital. We used it for like 5 different locations. It's an amazing place to make a movie. But that said, so that was my like straight up supernatural experience. And I know that when I think about it, there's probably more things that have happened to me. And as we're talking, maybe more
I
will
got
come
a
out.
lot of questions, but we can come back to
Go,
that.
okay, go. If you got
Yeah,
any
no,
questions,
if you want to
please.
go, let's. I have a ton of questions on it, but why don't we shift into UFOs?
That was
Set the
where I was going to go.
stage.
Okay, so Max, the second AD I worked with all the time, Max Goldmeisel, he lives in Austria now and left the film industry, and he lives in Austria, so he gets healthcare. So he's a nice guy. He's a good guy for that. So he moved out to. He and I were living in LA, and we were working on a movie that Larry Clark was directing down in Marfa, Texas, called Marfa Girl. And I was going to be the first assistant director. So it was a big deal. I was a big Larry Clark fan because he did the movie Kids and Bully and all these other like really interesting, roughy kind of movies that were very avant-garde, very indie. And I got hired to be his first assistant director, so that was a big deal for me. So we decided we were going to drive from Santa Monica Pier, starting at like 4 in the morning.
Love the pier.
So we drove. Oh yeah, Santa Monica Pier, love it. So we started like he picked me up in I think Koreatown. We drove the wrong way west to Santa Monica Pier, and then left Santa Monica Pier, and then drove the 10 freeway the whole way because we wanted to start at the ocean and do that because we were young and And this is after we'd already had.
Fun times,
This was
yeah.
before we had the experience on where I got possessed. So this is before that. So we're going back in time 1 year. So we're driving on the 10 freeway, and we're driving all day, and we're probably around sunset. We finally got into El Paso, and then you hook at that point. It was like 239 or something like that. There's like or 240. There's like a highway that goes down toward Marfa, and it's literally a 2-lane highway in high desert, and you're just driving the whole way. So this is it was spring break because Marfa is like basically the hipster spring break place where they all show up there and eat off the food trucks and and it was the hipster Cancun is what they were calling it while we were down there. And so we were driving, so it's spring break, so it's like March, April, and we're driving down this highway, and it's getting late. It's getting like 1 o'clock in the morning. We hit the first town of two before we get to Alpine, which is where we're staying. So it's like way the hell south. 60 miles, I think, is from the Mexico border. When you go that far south, you're only like 60 miles or something like that. It was very close. And so we're in the middle of nowhere in the desert. And around 1 o'clock in the morning, a light appeared right in front of our car. And it just kept getting brighter and brighter, and it was blinding. I mean, straight like if you turned on a giant spotlight and just pointed it right into your car. And that's really, I mean, it was blinding. And we literally stopped the car in the road. I mean, there's nobody around. And Max turns to me and says, "Are you seeing this?" He's like, "Am I imagining this?" I said, "No, dude. We're we're both seeing this right now." He's like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Do you think it's a truck or something?" He's like, "It can't be a truck. It's like if it were a truck, it'd be like it's driving with us, backwards as we're driving, like in tandem with it." That's how bright it was. And we were like, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, go slowly forward." Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I'm freaked out too. Like, I'm not going to get out of the car and explore. Like,
Come on, Daniel.
I'm
Where's
not.
your
I locked my door. I'm like, I'm not. I've seen this movie. I locked my door. I'm like, I make sure all the doors were
You're
locked, and I'm like,
underneath the
drive.
seats. As many things as you could pile on top of you or on top of you. Yeah.
The light, and I'm like, I might become DGA on this movie. That's not going to help me. So I said, "No way, man! Like,
You
drive
crack me
forward."
up. Daniel, you're fucking hilarious. Some of the stuff you come on.
So, well,
I really appreciate it. I really do. Like you
I
gotta laugh at some of this. Some of this shit you
oh,
come off of this hilarious.
well, thank you. But this is true. Like, we were scared out of
I
our
know, but just
minds.
I can if I can't laugh at something
Oh, of
really
course.
that's true,
Well,
then I'm like it's gonna self-say. So
there's a
yeah, go
great
ahead.
quote from Carrie Fisher, which is, "It's funny now." Like,
Right. It
at the
wasn't funny
time, it
then,
wasn't funny. We were
but it's funny
terrified.
now. Yeah, I
So
got
we
that.
drove slowly, and I shit you not, I don't really have a clear memory of how it was resolved. I'd like to think that eventually we thought it might have been like a truck
Did you call and
50.
report it?
No, there was no cell signal. You were literally in the middle of nowhere.
No, there was none when I did too. I went back after my first. It was in 2017 though. And I'd like Googled, who do you report this to? Because it was so crazy. I saw a
Yeah.
couple more things. And that's when I found MUFON. And then like yeah, so and on my podcast that I do, I interview like all the top experts and leading experts. And I'm usually good friends with them like on these topics, So
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, it's a blast. It really is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so I can't say that it was time loss. Like, I know that's a thing with
Yeah.
UFO encounters. I can't say for certain it was that because, like, I kind of remember,
You
but I think
kind of remember, but were you under a sedative? I could go further, and
we
we
have no
only have
idea.
an hour. Daniel, if you want, and I can put you in front of like some top professionals, but I would love to go through your experience with you and help you to understand what it was and how it went. And I don't think that we're going to be able to do that. And hey, Anthony, I'm sure would have you on for a part two. But before we do that, I want to help you make sense out of what
Okay,
happened
please.
because I can do that. I
Okay.
definitely can do that.
I mean, but just really quick, if I can say, like, if
Yeah,
you're
no,
talking
go
about like
ahead.
putting me under hypnosis and then they're gonna put me on the air. I am a little bit worried they're gonna be like,
No.
"So what was it?" And I'd be like, "It was an Amazon truck." Oh, okay. You know?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I know. No, it has it like green memories.
Yeah.
Once we go and no, I don't buy into that. And in the state of hypnosis, especially being a mental health therapist for 7 years, trained by Dr. Daniel Hughes in dialectic developmental psychotherapy. It's a mouthful. So after going through all that, it's not that I didn't, like graduate grad school. I was in top of my class. I was in part of the honor society. I did all that. It just got to the point where all like I stopped thinking it was a good idea because I dealt with kids who had reactive attachment disorder. And if you know anything about them, like they're a certain percentage of them are going to be your serial killers. Okay. There's always a drop in the buckets. They always have plans to kill their parents. They're always the ones with the razor blades under the beds or the knives, like, so we're like basically teaching them how to acclimate or simulate into society, which is all grand. I mean, they practice on animals first, obviously, before they're going to practice on you, so to speak. But as soon as my son started going to school and I'm starting like, Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like, no, we're not happening. I started to become very internally conflicted by this because I'm like, I am teaching somebody who has these tendencies, who has this like a brain, they're going to be a serial killer, most likely. So, what do you do with that? There's no way that I was going to continue to teach them how to assimilate in, especially if my own child is going into these classrooms with them. So I became very conflicted with that.
Did I experience time loss just now? How did we get to that?
Well, I don't know exactly either. I just know that something you said, and along the
Oh
lines,
my.
Danielle, no, 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 this is no joke. Along the lines, I was thinking, I'm going to remember exactly what the hell I'm supposed to be talking about, but for some reason, it like evolved, and you know what? And so we're even. He
No, no,
got
you know
me.
what? Actually, what you were saying was freaking me out, but it was really interesting though, because you were talking about you were teaching the kids how to assimilate.
Yes.
So you're basically teaching them, if I'm wrong here, tell
No,
me.
no, keep
You're
going. Yeah.
teaching them how to pretend to be normal?
Yes.
That's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
That is so
Right.
fucked up.
And I
Like,
did it for like 7 years, and I was like, that is, I can't do this. Now my child is
do they
going
put them
into
on like lithium
classes.
or anything? Like,
What's that?
are they like on medication? These
Oh,
kids,
yeah, like lots of
like
them.
lithium and stuff like
You know,
that. They're like,
yeah, they're on a mall. Like,
yeah,
it depends.
Klonopin. They're
Mine,
just all
yeah,
like, oh, yeah, I'm
Klonopin,
okay. Yeah,
Ativan, you had some
okay.
Xanax on there. I
Oh
mean,
my,
ADHD medication. Yeah, you got like,
wow.
oh, I mean, that just doesn't even scratch the surface. But so
So,
many of them
so
would
how?
have plans to kill. I mean, so my job was, I was trained by Dr. Daniel Hughes in dyadic developmental psychotherapy, DDP. You can look it up for yourself. So Daniel Hughes is like, in order for the parents like to understand why the kids may want to kill them, because it may not be for the reasons they think they are. Like, maybe because they like the parents that much and they just don't want them to die, and like, they don't want to live through that. So in order to do so, we'd have to pull the parents in.
Thinking.
So the weirdest case I had was a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and the parents, the adoptive parents, and the 2-year-old is now telling the preschool teacher he's going to like stab the dad, and the other 3-year-old is now telling the preschool teacher that he's gonna do something, strangle the mom. And so the dad comes, he's like, we don't believe it. And I was like, oh, you're gonna have to come back to my office, okay? Because I can't do therapy with your child until we get something straight. Are you able to accept the fact that your kids might want to take your life and kill you? And a lot of them would be like, what did you just say? Like, and I'm like, just, I think they're just looking at me to like break a smile or to laugh a little, or giggle. Like, is this some sort of morbid joke? But no, that's not a morbid joke at all. And a lot of times they would take them from other states, they'd pull them in, they would change their names. So what you're doing, and they know who they are. They know who they are. And we would get all the paperwork on them, and these people like that were adopting sometimes like 6, 7, 8 of these kids. I'm like, what are you
All with the
doing?
same problem?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yes, oh yes.
That's not a family. That's a gang. Like,
Right? They're
like,
the
I mean, that's
that isn't
like
even a family. No, you're
you're
right.
putting
That's
a
a small
cartel
gang, and
that's a
they're gonna grow.
cartel.
Yeah,
Oh my
right.
god. What that is
Insane.
that's amazing though. Like there's a movie in there for sure.
A movie in there. The mom could had no control, and then like mine was Lala Loopsyville, and she like if you even like took away her Lala Loopsy, she turned in like full-fledged Satan. She was on the ground like yelling, and I was like, okay, like
I
now we need the holy water.
Do they
Is what
have
it
like
felt like.
six of them? Is it like scorpions in a bottle? Like they all keep each other in check? Like if you have
That
that many of them that are like all like plotting, killing, are they all sort of like just fighting with each other who gets to do it first? So that's how they all make it through to high
they
school?
always practice
Like,
on animals. That's how we know.
oh,
I could scar you forever with this
no, yeah, I
funny
don't
story
know,
I
no,
have
no, no,
with a
no, no.
kid, but I won't do it. I won't
I'm
do
an
it. I
animal lover. I have
promise.
2 dogs. I can't
I
do
do
that.
too, and I like total animal lover, and it
Yeah,
scarred me for life. But just know that they always practice before on animals before they go to the humans.
that's the. Now I've heard of that. I'd never talked to somebody who has experienced that
Well,
directly,
see,
like talking to me about it.
right.
That's definitely. I'm so fascinated though by the treatment process for this of like with these kids and like how they
Yeah.
deal with them. That's so amazing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
because they don't have any empathy. No, I've had clients, like, I've had clients, and this kid, he has continuously tried to take the life, he was, like, of his, like, 18-month sister. He cannot stop trying to push her out the 3rd-story window, and it's just like, man, then he takes his bicycle down the street, right? That part that protects, like, that
Yeah.
rubber part? No, that he pulled that on forward, and he went right down the longest line of traffic I think known to man, and he hit every single one of those freaking cars. I'm like, dude.
Well, it's interesting. Like another sort of thing that I've studied a lot. It's in this sort of realm is like Munchausen by proxy,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
Munchausen by proxy. Yes,
that is
definitely.
which is just a fascinating and
Mhm.
horrifying
Oh yeah.
diagnosis, I guess you call it, or condition. Amazing and terrifying. But yeah, no. So okay, so I've seen this crazy thing. Okay, so like light coming at us, it's freaking me out.
Mhm.
I don't have a clear memory of the like I know we did at some point, I want to say 30 minutes later or 40 minutes later, we passed a truck. And that was, way, way down. But there was no way that 50 miles away, there we're seeing its headlights
So
that
where
bright
exactly is
lighting.
this, Daniel? Where
This
exactly
is
is
this
this?
is on the highway between I'll call it El Paso and Marfa because it was
Okay, so this is in Texas.
this is in Texas. It's in
Okay.
southern, it's like high desert. So we were thinking maybe, okay, so like we were trying to figure it out later on that night. So we didn't get in until like 4 in the morning to the hotel in Alpine. So I think I want to say we thought maybe because it was high desert and it was flat, that maybe if they had their brights on, like this truck, all that ways away, it could conceivably have hit us. But we're like, that doesn't make any sense. But then we found out while we were there about the Marfa lights, which I don't know if you're familiar with. In Marfa, Texas, just outside of town, I think if you go south toward Alpine, there's a stretch of highway where there's like a place you can get off and you can park. And in the distance, you see these little lights going
Ooh.
up. And it just happens constantly at night. Just light going up. It is the strangest thing you ever see. Now,
That's
I
fascinating.
was like, is that a highway back there? Is there something back there? And I don't know what it is, and there isn't much of an explanation for it. But you just see these little lights going up.
Wow.
It was a little spooky.
Did you get any video or
I
pictures?
had video. It was on another phone, and I don't think it got saved. But I did.
Daniel.
I think I had. It was like an old, like one of the like second or third generation iPhones. It
Oh,
was
yeah, I
20
totally I
2012.
totally understand. You're not gonna get anything off of there. Yeah,
Yeah, it
anyway.
was like a 2012 or something like that. I
I
want to say,
gotcha.
but if you go on YouTube, there are lots of videos of the Marfa lights. If you
Oh, yes.
MARFA.
Okay, we're gonna have to
Yeah,
subscribe to each other. So I
yeah,
forgot that you're on YouTube too.
yes,
Can you give well, we just mentioned YouTube. Can you give everybody your YouTube address and one of like Kurt? I don't know if you could pull it for me or Mad Pack 777. Then we can get. Oh, I guess Anthony also could too. What is your YouTube then
sure.
page called?
My YouTube page, it's at Daniel capital D Pico capital P BLVDENT, as in the first letters of entertainment. And that is my YouTube page, our channel. We have a bunch of short films on there. I'm building another one for the film school or workshop I run. I
Very
run a
cool.
filmmaking workshop where I do teaching for, directing classes, editing, screenwriting, line producing, scheduling, things like that. I teach pretty much every category because when you have to survive in LA, you develop a very robust skill set.
So is that where you're living now, Daniel, in LA?
No, I live in Janesville.
Okay, that's where I
Janesville,
was
Wisconsin.
confused. Are
Yeah.
you talking about before?
Well,
Okay.
before, like when I was living in Los Angeles, and when you move to LA and you have
Hmm.
a head full of
Oh,
dreams
yeah, I
and
get
pockets
that.
full of holes, you have to figure out ways to survive.
You really
I
do. Yeah,
So I learned to be an assistant director. That was how I survived for a while. I started an editing company, so I was editing other people's movies for a long time. I still do.
that's
I still run
awesome.
an editing company, and I do features and things like that. And one of the scripts for a horror film I co-wrote just got the California tax credit. It was the one of the 32 films
Congrats.
that got approved. So that's called Whispers in the Walls, and that's a really fun horror Texas Chainsaw Massacre style bloodbath. It's a lot of fun. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
you can
So,
see some. Yeah, you can see some of my films on our channel. We did some shorts there. There's The Tie That Binds is a horror film if you're a horror fan. There's The Song of Lucky, which is about possession and demonic possession. And it's a musical, and it's a horror musical. So
oh wow.
yeah,
That's
that's one of our
pretty
favorites.
amazing. So, I guess in closing, um was there anything that we missed on the ET? Like, I have a bazillion questions, I guess, kind of for you on that, but we don't have to like go into anything like really crazy. But I'm just wondering, I guess, two questions. You
Yeah,
had talked about before on the paranormal stuff and how there was a death in your family,
sure.
right? And the increase in like, and the only reason I asked this is that there was some with, like I said before, with my son's father, where we couldn't, I mean, there was just craziness. So I wanted to find out what was going on in your household also during that time.
Well, during when I had the incident at the Elk Lodge, well,
Mhm.
my father had been diagnosed with liver cancer, and he was they were attempting to treat him, but it was it was pretty fruitless. So there really wasn't anything that they could do. So I was sort of just preparing myself for the inevitable. At least my fatalist um, impulses were just like, well, I should just start preparing myself for the inevitable because this doesn't sound good. Um, and I think it was 2 weeks later, my mom called me after the incident. It was like maybe a week later. My mom called me and said, it's time to come home. And that was the last day of the shoot.
Wow.
So I said, okay. And then he passed 2 weeks later. So
Wow.
it was all within about a 5 week period. This all occurred. Cause that was an 18-day shoot. So we only did 3 6-day weeks. So, but yeah, it was a crazy period that I was living through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we were, and so it was, anytime when somebody's slipping away, I guess that's to
Mhm.
describe it, and it's not a sudden incident.
Right.
Everybody, I think, prepares themselves in much of ways.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
my solution was drink myself stupid. So that was that was my best thinking at the time. So
I can't say that I don't understand. I mean, I until you walk in your shoes, Daniel, nobody has
yeah,
the right to judge that. But
yeah.
I'm saying there's been days I like literally, I could
Well,
completely understand that.
I'm 7 years sober now, so I don't. Thank you,
Congratulations,
thank you. Yeah, next month I'll be 7 years. So,
that's amazing.
yeah, so it's obviously it gives you perspective now on what you. I mean, at the time it happened, and I just said, "Oh, I guess I got possessed," and didn't give it any mind till later on. Years later, I started thinking, I was like, "That's pretty profound." Um, Realization, like just a pretty,
Hmm.
it's like a big thing to realize that happened, and you're like, wow,
Yeah. Oh, for
that's a thing
sure.
I actually experienced. At least I think, I don't know for sure. I can't say anything for sure. I mean, I didn't ask the ghost or spirit, like, can you show me your driver's license so I can have proof of this later on?
Yeah.
Or where's the,
What's your plan here in
well,
like haunting my air? Like, what do you got going
well,
on? the weeks to follow, like for
A
sure.
friend of
Yeah.
mine years ago made a short film about, that was sort of like, the rash of like haunting movies. And then suddenly, somebody's got a task and, they got to do. And like this group of guys are sitting around watching TV, the football game on a Sunday. And then like one of them realizes there's a ghost in the corner watching them. And they're like, dude, there's a ghost over there. And the guy's like, yeah, I know. He's like, never get haunted. It takes all your free time. And the ghost starts saying to him, have you gone to the library yet? Have you gone to the library yet? You have to go check the library. There's a clue there. And he's just like, I don't have fucking time for that.
Right.
like,
I got to prioritize and you ain't making the list. Yeah.
So like, at the end of the day, it's crazy. I've had a lot of crazy experiences. Not all of them supernatural. Some of them just sheer insane. Shooting.
I like those I like those too.
Well,
we need to bring back.
If you got time, I got some great stories about shooting in the Dominican Republic.
I've been to the Dominican Republic, Puerto Plata or
Puerto Playa.
Puerto Plata. It was wasn't it Puerto Plata or what was the other one? Oh,
well, there's Juan Dolio. We were there. That was
Punta Cana.
Punta Cana. Okay, I don't think I went to Punta.
I was in Puerto Plata.
Puerto Plata. We did. Santo Domingo, we were in Juan Dolio, and then we went to Samana. Samana is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. The problem was for all of us who were not native to the Dominican Republic, we all got deathly ill throughout the shoot.
And there's a lot of voodoo down there.
It was, it inspired my trip there, inspired some of the things that we did to Whispers in the Walls later on. Because I, was introduced. I didn't even realize, like I took the job and 3 days later I was on an airplane going to Santo Domingo and I did no research. And when I get down there, I didn't really know about like the Haitian, Dominican.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sort of, and the women always like, or the younger men, like the older women, and they told us whatever you do, don't go near or let the Dominican women think that you're hitting in, and you don't know because you could have, it's just completely opposite. And I was like, and then you would see the guards for the resort, they'd be down and patrolling with like huge armed rifles, and I was like, I don't know.
That was my first
place.
That in Italy, when I went to Italy, it was the first time I saw policemen with submachine guns, and it always freaks me out. Guns make me very nervous.
Handgun, not like a full-fledged rifle like you think they use in combat, but yeah.
Sure. The Dominican Republic was the same. They had submachine guns. At least I recall them having it and being like, that makes me nervous. But then I saw how people drive. And
they even have cars, or they're all mostly on scooters, or the oldest cars known to man.
Well, no, they had new cars. They had newer cars, but
you're better than
nobody made any attempt to follow any road signs.
No, were there street lights when you were there? Because there was no street lights.
Terrifying.
There was no street lights at all.
No, there were street lights. Nobody gave a shit. And I was amazed though how they navigated it. There were no accidents when I was there, but everybody just went whenever they fucking felt like it. And I was just like, I was looking at the drivers here and there and being like, wow, like I don't know.
What year were you there? What year were you?
End of 2012. So it was October into November 2012. I left just before Thanksgiving. We finished the movie just before Thanksgiving in 2012. So, but we were all violently ill on that movie. We were basically passing around Imodium like they were mints to each other. Like, you'd go out at set and you're having your coffee in the morning and, it's like, hey, how you doing today? So, yeah, I was a little loose this morning. Oh yeah. Did you take the Imodium? You got to take it early. I'm like, that was our coffee table talk.
Man. So everybody's suffering at this point.
And there was a stunt guy, and I'll admit, basically this stunt person did a stunt and just shit his pants right there on set.
Everybody's like, we understand. It's okay.
But we all understood. We were like, is there a take two? He's like, nope, there ain't no take two. I'm leaving. Bye.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was amazing. It
It's
was an
gonna be
amazing
okay,
experience.
bro. Like you're gonna,
Yeah,
yeah.
we all understood. We all knew. It's like,
For
oh,
real,
ship
yeah.
supervisor's puking again. Yep, okay,
No.
all
Somebody
right.
go get her a glass of water. She'll
Imodium
be
can't
okay.
help her with
Yeah.
that. Don't get her water. If you do, it's got to be out of a bottle. Don't give her anything with ice in
Oh
it.
yeah, no water with Sprite. Maybe could she have like a Sprite or
I mean,
something?
she went to the hospital. She had to go. Our line producer went to the
Oh
hospital.
god, what a nightmare.
I was borderline going to the hospital because
Probably getting dehydrated at this
I
point.
slept on the toilet one night. It was amazing. It was
Oh,
extraordinary. It was that talk about an out of body experience.
that
That
way,
was
yeah.
one. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
there's nothing like that. Yeah, people
No.
vomiting around you. You
But
gotta be like, yeah,
a real fun movie to work on though. Like
I
working on a
bet.
horror film like that. I mean, that was great. It was a Cabin Fever Patient Zero. So I got to meet Sean Astin.
Oh,
He was
very
working on the movie.
cool.
So
Very cool.
he told a lot of great stories about Lord of the Rings. I think the only one that I think I can tell because it's like I think he's told it other workplaces publicly. He said when they arrived on set or when they got their contracts, there
Oh
was this
yeah.
list of things they weren't allowed to do. Like
Oh
no one's allowed to
yes.
go skydiving. You couldn't go race car driving. Like it was like this list of shit that
Oh
basically like the
yeah.
survival rate is less than 90%.
Yeah.
And they're like, because if you buy it, we're fucked. So
Right.
and he said that the whole crew, like the whole cast, like that was their like to-do list before they did the show. Like they were all doing everything on the
Check
list.
mark by check mark. Yeah, their
Yeah.
due diligence was being done.
Yeah, so it was a fun experience. It was a new experience. I really yes, a lot of crazy shit seen in my life.
That's putting it
Um,
mildly.
yeah. So yeah, but yeah, no. So yeah, if you got some folks that you want to throw me in front of who will help me find
Yes.
that lost time, like I said, it could wind up being an Amazon truck. I don't know, but
You'll
it
never
certainly
know until you do know, though,
it certainly
Danielle.
didn't seem that way at the time. Like we were absolutely. I mean, like literally, we stopped the car like in the middle of the road. I mean, there was no one else around. We were just like, I mean, it's dead silent too.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, that was the thing too. Like, we rolled the window down and we thought maybe there's like a stalled truck in front of us. Like, we're gonna like hit it. Like we thought maybe that might be the case because it was that
Oh,
bright.
yeah.
It's that blinding. So I actually wrote that scene into the opening of an alien abduction film that I hope to make
Ah.
called Incident at Black Creek.
Well, if you
And,
ever need, I am a ET UFO experiencer, like
oh,
well
okay.
known. Yeah, so if you ever need anybody to kind of like walk that through, I can't imagine or can't exactly think of what that is. Like when you go to write a script and you see, like my buddy's doing it right now, and he wanted me to help him. So I'm more than willing to if you need any of
Oh,
that.
I'd
Like,
love that. That would be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
I think I would love to pick your brain
Oh
about
yes, yeah.
ideas because I have all these crazy ideas about what I want to do with the movie. But um, we almost made it in front instead of Solstice and then I said there's just no way we can for the money we have. There's no way we can make that movie. I was like, yeah, I'll make miniatures because I'm big into the old school stuff. So I was like,
Right.
we were gonna make the UFO miniatures and stuff, and we were gonna shoot all miniatures for things. And
Yeah.
I'm really big into old school filmmaking techniques because I've built miniature sets in my garage, just for fun because that's what I
I've
do
seen them
with my
too. I
time.
was surprised. Like I didn't know of that how many of these miniatures. Like I know my buddy David Merlin was going through and he's like he's building a lot of it miniature and I was like, wow. But he's got a knack for it. Like
Mhm.
I think you really would have to have like a knack for it or realistic or somebody who really like knew that part of it cuz I don't think it. I mean, it almost looks verbatim, and they're recreating some of the stuff, but
I really got
yeah.
into trying to recreate alien landscapes for from like sci-fi novels from like the 50s and 60s, like those
Mm.
covers, like that
Yeah,
cover art. So I was trying to recreate like physical versions of that. And then I was gonna like this was during the NFT boom, so I was gonna like
sure.
film them, mint them, and then try to sell them. And like I could never get enough light because I have a farmhouse that was built in like 1905 as my
Oh
house.
yeah.
So the electrical system in the house is very sus.
Oh
So
yeah.
plug in more than one light, like all the shit would go down.
Yeah, do you have a fuse
So,
panel still? If
yeah,
so, they're
now
blown.
there's a fuse box, and then
Yeah.
there's also a panel. Like
Okay.
it's a combo thing.
Oh, it's a I bet those
So
yeah, when they blow,
yeah.
they blow.
So I was like, well, I guess I'm not plugging in my 1K. All right.
Right?
And I had nowhere near enough
Do
light
not plug
to.
any good electronics in
Yeah,
the
and I had a great. It was cool. I had this big. I made the table myself. And my wife looked at it and she's like, "What idiot built this?" I'm like, "Me." Uh, because it was so janky from all the wood that I'd found in the garage that was left behind.
You were
From a
trying to repurpose. I mean, I
Yeah, I
give you
was trying
props
to
for
do it, but
that.
then I'm like, okay, so it's like a piece of this, piece of that. She's like, why did you do that? I'm like, I don't know what I'm
It's a
doing.
new look. It's the cluster.
I didn't know
Like
what I was doing. So I said, all right, but it's level, and it is what it is. But I did build it.
and
I
if you
have.
don't like it, you can hire somebody who
It's
does.
okay.
Yeah, right.
It just took up room in the garage for a year, and she was not happy about it, which is totally
Love
understandable.
it.
Totally understandable.
No.
But yeah, but in any case, yeah, that's kind of my story. Did you have any other questions about anything or anything? Anybody ask anything in the comments that
I've been so engaged. It's so nice having a producer on this show. So just watched for Anthony to throw him up there. But I think I really do. I would love to help you make sense out of this and bring you back on because you've been a great guest. You're
Sure.
hilarious. I love your sense of humor. While we're, again, where can people find you?
Well, you can find my YouTube channel. Like I said, I've got a bunch of films on there. There's a lot of other stuff too. I don't do just horror. If you want to see the TV series that I co-wrote called Razor, which is spelled RZR, the one that was nominated for a Primetime Emmy, and it's not for something I did. It's for the one of the lead actors on the show, Mina Suvari, got nominated for a Primetime Emmy for acting. But I helped write her role and I directed her in a scene or two. So I guess I contributed. But she was nominated for a Primetime Emmy in 2024, which was really exciting. I mean, we were the only non-studio, non-network show that got a nomination. Everything else was owned by one of the big corporations.
Awesome.
We were the only independent show in the nominees for the Primetime Emmys and like the big show. And she lost to Rami Youssef. So it's like, if you're going to lose, lose to, an A-lister. So, yeah, so that was a great honor. But you can
That's
watch that
awesome.
show, on, the Gala Film Network. You can watch it there and then it'll be hopefully coming out as a feature film. So we repackaged the film. If you're not into watching web series, and you want to watch it on at home, we are going to be releasing it as a feature film too, which plays really well. It's basically about an hour and 50 minutes long, and it's a cool movie. It's called Cyber Protocol. That's going to be coming out hopefully next year as well. So Solstice and Cyber Protocol coming out back to back, and then if Whispers on the Walls, goes into production, I'll take that as a successful year. Maybe I'll be able to get a mortgage finally. So,
Yay.
yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Show Daniel Pico your support. Get
Okay.
over and like and subscribe on his YouTube channel and other social media platforms. So we want to find out more and hear more. And definitely, I think we've only scratched the surface. I would love to do some, like maybe before, kind of help you understand, and then play you back for a part two.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to come back. So I think
Yeah.
I'm coming on one of you guys' other podcasts to talk about horror, which
Oh, yeah,
I
that's a different one.
yeah. So I'll be on another one soon. But bring me back here for more spooky
Yes.
shit. I love talking about spooky
Yes.
shit. This is great.
And you know what? Next time you should bring your wife too. Not that you weren't
I'll
just good
ask
enough, but
her.
yeah, you being then we got to get the full story. We'll have your wife with alongside of you. Would that be
She'll
fabulous?
scare me before the end of
That's what
the
we're hoping
podcast.
for.
So
That's what we're hoping for.
I'll
Danielle,
try.
we would expect nothing less.
Appreciate it.
I love it.
Great. Well, thank you for
I
having
love
me.
it. Yes, no. So everybody go and follow Daniel Pico. I'm Coley with SNX Radio, otherwise known as Coley UFO on X and other platforms. We're just sending out, every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us at MK Invasion, which is produced by Forever Entertainment. So we go and we talk about all those topics that nobody else is discussing. We go into areas of UFO, paranormal, cryptids, and now possession. So I can only imagine what next week holds. So on behalf of me, Coley Weber, I'm going to wish all of you a fantastic evening. And Daniel, is there anything you want to leave our guests with tonight?
Um,
Our
Always
listeners?
remember to take your Imodium right away.
And always remember to take that Imodium right away. So, on that note, we are going to thank you so much for tuning in. Next Tuesday, you can find us again. Forever Entertainment, MK Invasion. Again, I'm Coley Weber, your host from SNX Radio, and Danielle Pico has been our special guest tonight. And if you didn't catch it at all, at any point in time, please go back and listen. He's a fascinating guest with his personality is absolutely wonderful. So enjoyed and appreciated every minute of it. So thank you again, Danielle, for coming on. And then we are good to go, Anthony.
Thanks again.
Yes.